Hi, good morning everyone. Let's get started with the next topic for this tutorial, which is on SU24, which is mainly stand for maintaining check indicators in SAP. SU24 is one of the most important transaction in security. It's used to maintain all the objects that are checked for the execution of a particular transaction. The check indicator as mentioned in SU24 are stored in two customer specific tables, which are USOBT_C and USOBX_C. So underscore C that stand for the customer tables. The customer specific table ensure that the values modified by customer are not overwritten by the SAP proposed values during a future upgrade. We can have a look at the SAP proposed values through the transaction SU22. Okay, so basically SU24 is the one which is mainly used during upgrade. So let's go to SU24 transaction, and what we are seeing here is we are seeing a transaction called SU01D on the left side, and in the middle you are seeing the objects which is there in this particular T code, and you can see the check indicators, you can see the default proposal, you can see the package in which these objects are, and the component ID for each of these objects. And if you click on any of the object, you can see their values. Okay, so what are the values for those objects? So just double click on any of them, it will show you the values for it. See, now we are again in this particular T code, which is SU24. Okay, so we just saw how and what all the objects which is there and how they are stored in the particular transaction. Okay, so basically the SAP proposed values are there in SU22 and the customer specific values are there in SU24. So each object can have different status as given in the screen, as we have seen in the screenshot. So basically what it means is that if we see the three objects, basically three parameters. One is do not check, that is the check indicator, and proposal is yes or no. So do not check means these objects are not checked during transaction execution. Basis and HR components cannot be marked as do not checked. Okay, just take note that. And check yes, that means check maintained in previous releases. These objects are checked during transaction execution and also pulled into a role when the transaction is added to a role. We also have the option of maintaining default values of the authorization field for these objects. Okay, so basically this table here we are seeing VA01 on left side. This VA01 is composed of multiple objects, you can see on the right side, and here you can see the status of those objects and whether they are checked or not during the transaction execution or not. And the moment we double click on any of them, you can see the object, the field names and the display values. Okay, so let's click on, if we look at any of them, we will see that what activities it is having. We can see the different fields. Okay, so that is basically pretty much what is stored in this particular transaction. So we have seen the object, the different parameters, that is do not check, check, common no for the proposal. So what the combination of each stand for. Say for example, we have authorization check set to check and proposal status check to yes. So wherever it is check and yes, they will be checked during the logon process. Okay, if it is or during the transaction execution, if it is set to check and no, it will depend on the program basically. So these objects are checked during transaction execution but are not pulled into the role even if the transaction is added to the menu. Okay, check and yes we have seen, check and no it's not checked. Okay, so these are the three different options which are available, and based on the security design, we make the objects check yes or no, and we don't want to add everything to yes because that will slow down the performance, loading of the transaction, loading of the object drastically. So we take it diligently and decide which should be checked and which should not be checked based on the security design, and that will help to speed up the performance, and that will help to ensure that we are not compromising too much on security, because security and performance, they don't work together. So we need to strike a good balance between the two to just make sure that we are covered basically. Okay, so this is an example of how it looks like. Okay, but we will be covering this in more detail in the next section. Thank you for joining and have a nice day. Bye bye.